born in India and educated in India.
Okay.
And my first encounter with Jesus was when I was 13 in a boarding school and a Methodist church. But I wasn't followed up, so I didn't really understand what happened. And then several years later, I migrated to Australia, and I was single, and I went to work in a school. And I met my husband there and married. And we had 2 children. And we went on a yachting trip. That was when I had my first son. I went on a yachting trip from Darwin through Indonesia to Singapore, and had lots of exciting adventures, scary things that happened. The boat landed on rocks and all kinds of things. And I ended up in Singapore, and from there I went to India and had my second son. And then we came back to Australia 7 months later. And I happened to have an accident on the boat, and I fractured my spine, and I had 2 displaced vertebrae. And so I was hospitalized because I collapsed one day, and was hospitalized and in traction, and they couldn't do anything for me. So they said I would be crippled, and I was in a very bad pain. I had 2 babies. I couldn't pick them up or do anything heavy. And it was during that time my husband got sick as well, and he was suspected of having bowel cancer. And he went to work on a building site, and he met a Christian who told him about Jesus. And through him we went to a church, and the first Sunday we were there, I gave my heart to Jesus. And the following Sunday my husband, and he was miraculously healed. And that began our Christian walk. And we stayed in a church for some 7 years on the Gold Coast in Australia. And then the Lord called us to the mission field. So in 1984, with our 2 children who were 6 and 8 at the time, we went back to India, and it was somewhere I didn't want to go because I'd just come out of India and I wanted to stay in Australia. But the Lord told me I had to trust Him. So we went there and we joined an American missionary with an Australian pastor we worked with, and we were in charge of setting up seminars right through India to train Indian church pastors. And so we had 3 seminars a year, and for between 500 and 700 Indian pastors. And we had to organize the whole thing, registrations. And it was during that time that Indira Gandhi was assassinated, and there was chaos in the country, and the first thing they did was the missionaries were asked to leave the country soon after that. So, but going to India was a miracle for us. We didn't get any church support or backing. We just had to go and trust God. And when we were in India, we actually lived every day by faith. We had to believe for every meal on our table. And God provided that for us, including things like birthday presents for the kids. We didn't have any money, and we had to pray for everything. And the children got really sick when we were there, and I had no one at home at the time. My husband was away, and I just had to pray and worship and just trust God to heal them, which He did. So we went through some exciting times in India.